Welcome back to another episode of Decentralized Chain. It's Feroz, and in today's episode, we are going to be talking to Micheal Rosmer, co-founder of DefiYield.app, which is an investment dashboard with a whole suite of tools to help you navigate that landscape when it comes to DeFi. Now, before we do, if this is the first time you're here and you want to learn more about crypto, whether it's news, insights, or analysis to help you get that edge, start now by hitting the subscribe button below and the bell notification icon so you don't miss any of our upcoming episodes. Now let's jump in and catch up with Micheal and everything that the investment dashboard has to offer. Micheal, welcome back to the show. Great to have you here. I hope you had a wonderful break.
Absolutely. Always enjoy our time together.
And Happy New Year. We're about 3 days in. I hope it's going well for you.
Yeah, so far so good. Happy New Year to you. Looking forward to making 2022 even better than 2021.
Let's hope so. But look, I mean, without wasting any time, and viewers who have obviously seen Micheal on the show before, certainly check out the previous video if you want to find out a bit more about DeFi Yield. But today we're going to be talking about the investing dashboard. Basically, we're going to jump straight in it because there's a lot happening. Been a lot of development, and I think it's really great just so people can understand what's going on and what we have to offer when it comes to DeFi Yield. So without wasting further time, let's talk about the investing dashboard. I mean, what is it in a nutshell?
Yeah, so I mean, I think our objective is to have the one place that you can come and manage your DeFi investing safely. So if you just think about it from the standpoint of you being a new user, I mean, the degens in the crowd, of course, are used to digging through Telegram chats and Discord and Twitter and going all over the place to 30 different sites and swapping their MetaMask from one different chain to another. It was kind of a pain in the ass, and it's not so great. So the objective of the dashboard is really to have the one place that you can send somebody to say, hey, listen, where do I invest in DeFi? It's like, here's where you can go to find the right opportunities, to do the research on, finding out whether it's a safe project to invest in or not, see what is paying the highest yield, et cetera. Actually allocate your funds and then track your portfolio.
And, I think one of the key things to pull out here also is, and what I quite like about the dashboard personally myself, and, viewers of the show are very aware of my opinion, is that this whole space that we're in, it's very technical for those who are kind of uninitiated or new to the scene.
Yeah.
And a lot of what we have here is developed more from a technical mindset than it is from a user experience perspective. And
absolutely,
I welcome anything and anyone that comes to this space to bring UX into crypto, because it is one thing that I feel that's fundamentally lacking, which certainly hinders adoption and also obviously anyone wanting to get involved, because people see around everybody else, you see stories, I've made these great gains, my 5x, my 10x, and forget the gains. I mean, there are great gains to be made. There's we don't need to kid ourselves of that. But in order to make those gains, some of those gains are really made from people who really understand the landscape, the ecosystem, the technicalities behind how to move from one chain, how to move to the next chain, how to farm here, how to farm there, and be able to rotate that farm or rotate your crop in order to be able to gain the maximum yield, right? And when you know that stuff, you are kind of on top of it. But when you don't know it and you're new to this space, it is quite difficult and it is daunting. And I think without that sort of hand-holding, without that sort of, here's the landscape simplified, I think we're doing a big injustice to those who are wanting to get involved in this space as well. And
yeah, totally. I think one of the things that comes to mind a little bit is just part of what's so great about crypto is it's egalitarian. It's open, and it allows anyone to participate. And, I think about if you have something like Robinhood, lots of people have come onto Robinhood. That's basically an American product. If you're in Africa, can you use Robinhood? No, you can't. And crypto isn't restricted in that way. But if you're saying, hey, listen, well, we don't have a barrier of geography, but we have a barrier of technical skill and usability, then it's kind of its own sort of barrier. So this really breaks a lot of that down.
So look, with the investing dashboard, let's jump in. I mean, how many chains are you currently supporting?
I think we're supporting 17 chains now, and it should be more here this week or next week or something. We have pretty much any EVM compatible chain you would want. So we've got Ethereum, we've got Binance Smart Chain, we've got Fantom, Avalanche, Polygon, Arbitrum, XDAI, Moonriver, Harmony, Hiko, like ones that you probably don't even know exist. We've got them. But then on top of that, what we've got is we have Solana. We're the only one where you can support both EVM and non-EVM compatible. And so that's super cool. And Terra is live in our test environment right now. So I think this week we're going live with Terra, and so then we'll be adding Cosmos as well. So yeah, it's got almost all the chains that you would want to manage your assets in. And if it's not there, well, we're working on bringing them out. So that's great.
And I think cross-chain support is key. There's different flavors. There's lots happening across various L1s nowadays, right? I mean, nobody, given Ethereum's high fees, people are looking for elsewhere where they can get that DeFi experience. They can get the yield without necessarily having to give back all your gains in fees, right? So, cross-chain experience is, very, very key. Well, another area, like last year was pretty much, I would say, dominated by NFTs. And that's not changing. That's not going away anytime soon. We're seeing NFTs pretty much being adopted mainstream in various aspects, whether it's gaming, whether it's celebrities, you name it. It's there's an NFT for something out there now, and people are utilizing on that as well. So, how do NFTs fit into your dashboard?
Yeah, I mean, we're mostly DeFi focused, but that being said, we want you to be able to track your NFTs. So that's a key thing, tracking the price floor. And so that's, I think, the main two areas, eventually being able to swap and trade the NFTs as well. Mm-hmm. But for now, just tracking your NFTs and then tracking the price floor of them is the first major step.
And, like with DeFi itself, DeFi is pretty much, I just see it as a massive Lego piece, right? I mean, you just bolting them all together, different protocols, you can pretty much make what you want of it. So, on that note, in terms of protocols, what are you planning to integrate actually? How many?
Oh, well, the goal is, I think, to have 500 integrated by April. Mm-hmm. And so we've really been amping up our team. I mean, we have, I think, 43 people now on our team, which makes it actually one of the largest teams in the space. And we've got some really cool new techniques for integrating protocols, which allow us to integrate a lot more. So over time, we want to integrate over 1,000. It'll, and as we reach a certain point, we should be able to just get any of the chains or any of the protocols that come out that you'd be interested in. We want to have them all integrated. But yeah, the kind of immediate goal is to get to 500, and then for sure 1,000 within a few months.
They're definitely not holding back. I mean, 43 development team. That's a very sizable development team, actually.
They're not all developers. It's about 30 devs, and then the rest is not devs. But yeah, it's still a huge. It's
a very huge. It's a huge sizable team. I manage a team of 60, so I know that is a very big size in terms of what you're planning to do. Now, one of the other things that I've been seeing a lot of buzz around within the community, within the web, is really your smart contract scanner. What's so great about it, Michael?
Well, I mean, there's nothing else out there like it, right? Mm-hmm. So if you just go and try using it. It's just got this incredible wow factor, because you can take right now it's Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain contract, and you can just paste it in there, and in 2 seconds, it will return a security scan, which will look for all the possible common exploits that you would have in a smart contract. And so we want to basically be able to show you before you go into a project, whether it's, you're going into a pool or you're investing, buying a token, that it doesn't have all these common risks in crypto. And I think that's a huge deal, because it doesn't matter how high your yield is if you get rug pulled.
And and I think that's such a key feature and something that's massively needed, because like last year, I had a number of individuals within sort of my normal social circles who aren't necessarily into crypto but are getting into crypto, and they're venturing beyond Ethereum. They're kind of going into the other chains as well. And
yep.
A lot of the stories that we see is, look, I've seen this project is suddenly coming out. It's a meme coin, whatever have you, right? At the end of the day, there's a gain to be made somewhere. And, sometimes you might not have a time lock in there. Sometimes it might well be that the only thing that you can do is buy the token. There's no way of actually selling out of the token. And I've seen a lot of questions being asked, how do I know if a smart contract, or how do I read that smart contract to know that it has a common set of measures in place, just to make sure that I don't get wrecked along the process? And I think this is something that's much needed in this space, because once again, if you kind of understand solidity from a technical perspective, or you kind of understand how these contracts are built up, some of these items are quite easy for the well-versed to be able to spot out whether there's locks in there or not, etc. But for the likes of the everyday user, they're not going to know, because as far as they're concerned,
absolutely,
it's a smart contract. I put some money in, and I'm going to hopefully be rich on the other end, or The alternative is you get wrecked. So no, and I think that's amazing. But you also have a REKT database. I love the name, by the way. So
Thank you.
How does your smart contract scanner actually really connect with all of that to become one of coherent space?
Yeah, so I mean, you can go onto our site. You can see the REKT database. We've tracked every major hacker scam on the in the ecosystem, and our engineers have gone through and manually verified what the weaknesses were in the code that resulted in people getting screwed over. And then basically from that, we compiled what we call our weaknesspedia, kind of an internal thing. And so that data, anytime there's a smart contract, which can be a new one, it could be one that comes out tomorrow, it could be a smart contract that got updated or changed. Sometimes people ask about, well, do you have to, do they have to have gone through us? It's like, no, any contract on these chains, you can scan yourself and it's real time. So you don't have to worry about, it was scanned at this time and then it was updated later, which would be the case with a traditional audit, right? Somebody could have an audit from Certic or something or QuantStamp, and then they could end up having the contract changed in the future and, it's no longer valid, but how do you know that as a user, right? Here, it's real time. So it scans the smart contract. It will tell you in real time what's going on with it. And basically what it's doing is it's just querying every previous hack and scam within the industry, within the ecosystem, and saying, do any of these vulnerabilities exist within this code? And if they do, it'll show them to you. It'll tell you a little bit about where they are on the contract, what the risks are, et cetera. If not, then, great. That's the ideal, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. So let's talk a bit more about your DeFi token, actually. So as with any token, I think one of the key things that I look for is utility. And so what is the DeFi token actually doing for the platform?
Yeah, so I guess start by thinking about this idea that we want crypto in general to be trustless, right? And when we're talking about security in particular, that's very important.
Yep.
Right? You can just imagine if you have a single point of failure, that's really bad. If somebody's holding your money, or in this particular case, if somebody's supplying you information about the safety of protocols. So right now, all of our infrastructure is centralized. Okay, it's on our own servers, and there's practical reasons for that, just from a development standpoint, being able to modify things, do that. But our goal is to decentralize all that infrastructure. And then as soon as you start decentralizing infrastructure, you run into situations where you have consensus issues, where you have coordination problems, right? You have security because you have to worry about something like a Sybil attack and on and on. So the DeFi token, it's a governance token, and it offers various different features, et cetera. But the main purpose of it is to run the decentralized infrastructure behind our platform, which is, you might think of it like a chain link for security or something like the graph. So there's kind of some similarities in that regard. And so the token stakers will be able to earn a portion of the fees of the platform for doing that. And this helps to keep the network secure and functioning properly.
And when do you plan to launch the actual token?
So the token hopefully will be launched in the next few months. We are tentatively, we're paying attention to the market a lot, and seeing just kind of what's going on, which right now is a little uncertain in terms of is it just going to remain flat or what's going on. But the tentative goal is for February. And so we're planning to do an IDO at that point in time, and that's the goal.
Again, and those are the key words. Where the IDO, a lot of people watching are thinking, right, well, how can I get involved? So, tentative February. Stay tuned for that. Now, look, with any of these launches, when it comes to launching your own token, marketing is key, right? It goes without saying. So in terms of those who are kind of involved behind the launch, with the launch, supporting you, in terms of venture capitalists, any numbers you can name?
Yeah, so you can actually we have a subpage of our website, which is the investors page, where we list a bunch. But notably, we have a bunch of major exchanges who have invested, which is great. That looks good from a centralized exchange standpoint. We have very notably Defiant/Three Arrows Capital, who are, for those who know, one of the most well-respected in the field of DeFi investing. We have Shima Capital. We have a variety of different others, Finbushi, and so quite a few pretty well-known, highly respected event VCs.
Yeah.
Then we had some angels like Kane, founder of Synthetics, Munir, founder of Periswap, Swissborg, like a bunch of pretty well-known people in that regard. And then a bunch of influencers. So we really care a lot about building long-term partnerships with the influencer community, et cetera. And so we've had quite a number. The largest, all the top 3 people in France, top in Japan, top in Poland, a bunch of others who are big names with huge followings who you would probably know about. And so those are all people who are on board. So I'm excited.
No, well, we're all excited. Actually, it's music to our ears.
Absolutely.
And look, I mean, one of the other, and obviously you mentioned influencers, you mentioned growth, and obviously I spoke about marketing, etc. In terms of being made more aware. So one of the things I have noticed is that your YouTube channel has grown, quite rapidly, so to speak. How have you managed to achieve that?
I mean, I think it's through partnerships, right? Partnerships and community. Like, pretty regularly, I've been interviewing founders and top tech people of various different projects. And so, I think that creates, first of all, it's great for us because, we get to learn through the process, which is super fun. And then on top of that, we kind of, by building these mutually beneficial relationships, we end up with, the ability of people to collaborate and kind of share our audiences, and people get to learn a little bit more through us. And I think that's key. As a user myself, I want to be able to go and find out about these different protocols and projects. And so we try to supply great information as well as help other people get exposure for their projects. So
collaboration is key. Always has been in this space, actually. So look, Micheal, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you so much for going through the investing dashboard for DeFi Yield. I mean, it looks absolutely amazing from what I've already seen on the website anyway. And in terms of, from a user experience perspective, as I mentioned before, I think this is where we need to head towards. These are the sort of platforms that we need to see more of in this space, really to kind of help everybody to understand, to be able to make gains as well on top of that. Any last words before our viewers, before we close down the show?
I think I would just say, go and try the defiyield.app dashboard. It's honestly, if you're doing DeFi investing, you probably need some place to manage it. I use it, and it was made by people who do investing for people who do investing. And so, I just encourage you to do it, and I hope you like it and give us your feedback. We're active on Telegram and Twitter, so look forward to hearing from you and finding out what you think. Yeah, drop the comments below. I'd love to hear what everyone's thinking. Excellent. Well, thank you, Micheal. Great. Until we meet the next time.